Success at a high level is not about being a rugged individual trying to figure it out. And this is what many of you do. You get your ego in the way. Oh, I don't need that. I'm good. I know what I'm doing. Okay, maybe you do. But how about doing it faster? How about not doing trial and error, right? Hi, this is Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. My goal inside of this communication, this show, is to share with you my nearly 30 years of coaching some of the most successful financial advisors in North America. We're going to be talking about strategies, syntaxes. We're going to be bringing guests on from time to time, and I'm going to share with you what's working now. So think of this show as sort of like a little one-on-one kind of mini coaching cast, if you like, where we're going to be going in depth from time to time on strategies to help you grow your business, get more effective, become more efficient, find balance in your time management, grow your business, and quite frankly, whatever else is going on in the world today. So before we get to today's episode, I'd love for you to do a couple things for me. Number one, make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're doing the audio, make sure that you give us a review on whether Spotify or Apple. We'd really appreciate that. And quite frankly, that does help. It does matter when you rate things and like things and subscribe to things. It helps us get the word out to more of the industry. And lastly, I have a very special gift for you. Go to MagellanNetwork.net, so one word, MagellanNetwork.net, and I have for you a complimentary membership, 100% gratis, where you can tap into about between 50 and 75 hours of masterclasses, forms, tools, templates, and strategies. So please go ahead and make sure you go ahead and get that claimed. Smash the like button and subscribe. And please go ahead and leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you're on. And now, let's get to this week's episode. Hi, it's your Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. I guess season greetings, right? We are mid-December 2024, barreling to the end of another season here inside the game. So in this episode, what I want to do is make a case, strong case, and this is more for like 2025, of why you've got to deploy and invest in your most important, the most valuable asset you have in your business, in your game, in your career, which is you, right? I have found a lot of advisors in my career woefully neglect their most prized possession, which is themselves. Do not delude yourself with the belief set that I am a funnel away or a marketing program away or a consultant away or anything like that. Because the stark truth is that what's holding you back from accomplishing your goals, your dream, your vision is you. So inside of this podcast, I'm going to lay out for you a framework that I teach all my clients on how to go ahead and create a personal and professional development game plan. All right. And I'm also going to give you guidelines on how much it should be, right? And explain the methodology behind it all. Okay. Let's talk about the belief in the initial context here, right? So I'm going to give you a narrative, and here's my narrative. You are the economic and intellectual engine of your business. Okay. Whether you're a solopreneur, lead an ensemble, or you run an enterprise, or you're a W-2 advisor on a team, doesn't matter. The goal is always to get better at what we do. If you're here inside this game, I believe that your goal needs to be the very best at what you do. The very best, right? And when we say the very best, don't equate that to mean top producer or highest earner. Okay, it may not be that at all. In fact, I would say to you, just because somebody makes a lot of money doesn't mean they're a really great advisor. Okay, two different things. But you want to be the very best. So how do we become the best at something? How does a human being get better at something, right? Obviously, repetition, right? Doing the reps is really important. But also getting a knowledge, foundational knowledge, distinctions, right, are really critically important. If you think about coaching and training, right, my area, what is coaching and training really as it relates to human beings? It's narratives, distinctions, stories, examples that a person can internalize that makes a person smarter, more connected, more aware, that they're now willing to go take the actions that are in their best interest. Okay? That's what it boils down to, right? And in our game, and I've said this for many, many years, that we have an overvaluation or overweighting, if you will, of what I call intellectual capital, right? Hey, let's go get a CFP, let's go get a CFA, AIF, and CHFC. Everybody knows the alphabet soups, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say to you guys, oh, those things are meaningless. They're not. They mean a lot. But don't get caught up in the concept, oh, I'm going to go tack another 3 letters after my name, and that will make me more successful. No, it just makes you more knowledgeable, period, right? Knowledge without action equals what? Nothing, right? It just doesn't. And I'm going to give you guys a quick story on that from actually a while ago, but it's a good one. So probably about 15 years ago now, I worked with this client, super great lady, top producer at her firm, crushing it. And I helped her crush it more. And she brought her family, her adult children in the business, and it's just a wonderful story. And there was a guy in her office. Hey, so-and-so asked me what I'm doing. I mentioned you, and he wants to talk to you. It's okay. I love referrals, just like you guys love referrals, right? Who doesn't like a good referral? So this is before the age of Zoom, obviously. And so we schedule up. I get on the phone with him, right? Because that's what we did back then. I know his name. I'm not going to mention it here because there's a little backstory to it, or an epitaph maybe. So I get on the phone with this guy, and the vibe I get from him is arrogant city all over the place. Like in 3 minutes, I'm like, okay, man. And I happen to be able to find him on LinkedIn. This is when LinkedIn was around, because I always do research on people before I talk to them. I want to know who I'm talking to. And this guy went to Harvard Law and Stanford Biz. Okay, so he's got a JD and an MBA, along with another bunch of designations. And I'm talking to him, and he just reeks of arrogance, right? And this guy's been in the business now for like 3-4 years, okay? So this is like a little bit of a second career for him, if everybody kind of understands it, right? So this is not a young person in their 20s, and it's like, this person's probably in their late 30s, early 40s at the time. And I'm talking to him, what's your challenge, right? He goes, business development, I don't understand. I go, what do you mean? Well, people don't want to hire me. I go, why do you think that is? He says, I don't know. Like, I'm the smartest guy. Like, I got all these designations. Like, I know estate planning better than estate planning attorneys. I know taxation better than the CPAs do. I know this and I know that, right? And it was like right there, this dude could not read the room. And I said to him, I said, look, obviously you're very bright and brilliant. There's no question being, you don't graduate from those schools with those degrees being an idiot. So I know you're not an idiot, right? He took a little offense to that word, even though I said he wasn't one. I said, the challenge you have is you've developed half of the game at a high level and totally ignored the other part of the game. And he goes, like, what do you mean? What other part of the game? I go, human beings, self-development. I said, you've developed professionally, but you have not developed personally. And I said, here's why I say that. You have been telling me for the last 5 minutes how great you are. And if that's the way you're rolling in your networking meetings and meeting with CPA, like you have this very condescending vibe to you. And so if I'm a CPA and I'm an attorney, maybe you say it out loud, or at least you imply it like, hey man, I'm the smartest guy in the room. And people only do business with people they like. If my child was dying of a brain tumor and you were a neurosurgeon and you were the best neurosurgeon, I could care less if you're a flaming asshole if you can save my child. You know why? I'll deal with that in that context, but I will not deal with that in that context with my advisor. Truth, right? Hi, Coach Joe Lucas here, and I'm just breaking here for a moment just to do a couple quick reminders. Number one, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. In addition, please leave a comment or a review. Those things really, really matter. and share this episode with 3 of your colleagues inside the financial services space. And lastly, make sure that you go ahead and claim your free membership inside of Magellan Network. Now back to this week's episode. And there was just silence on the other end of the phone. And he basically told me that I was totally wrong. I had no idea what I was talking about. He asked me what school I went to. What college did you go to? I said, I never went to college. And once I said that, man, I was like trash to him. Like total trash. I must be talking out my body parts, right? So that conversation ended pretty quick. Fast forward, a year later, 2 years later, I get a LinkedIn update, right? Because I was connected with him. He does some consulting gigs out of the industry, stuff like that. Now, why do I bring up that story? He invested in himself, but didn't complete the investment process. If you're going to be the best at what you do, you got to be both smart and understand the game of success and the game of people, right? That's the trifecta here, right? Be technically gifted or at least competent, understand the game of business, then understand the art of people, because people are an art. It is not a science, all right? So what I always recommend and strongly recommend to my clients is, look, if we're good today, we want to be better tomorrow. We got to keep reinvesting in ourselves, time, money, to make better versions, to get smarter, to get wiser, to get more distinctions, right? To level up, whatever you want to put on it. So inside of our business planning, our Magellan Vision 10X program process, we actually have a whole section developed dedicated to what we call a personal and professional development game plan. So here are some guidelines. I think there's two, like I said, there's 2 elements of development, right? There's the professional side, which are going to be designations, training, stuff like that, CE credits, right? That would definitely all consider some stuff you guys don't really want to do, quite frankly, right? Here it is. So we're going to have to allocate some time, energy, and effort, and probably capital to that, right? And that's stuff you have to do in most cases. But what you want to do, the real secret here, is to get better at business and get better at people. I'm not here to pitch what I do, but every one of you needs to be involved in a coaching program. And if I'm not the right flavor for you, I get that. Then go check out Limitless, ClientWise, Oxley. Trust me, there's 1,000 of my colleagues running around, wanting to help you, right? Go find somebody you resonate with and hire them in 2025. Make the commitment. Seriously, just do it. Don't overthink it. If you're with the right coach and the right program, right relationship, you should expect 5, 10, 15, 20x return on your capital. Seriously, right? That's what you should expect if you get a right one. So do that. Now, as far as guidelines go, I use a minimum 5, ideally 10% concept. So here's what I'm saying. I believe that you should, everyone here, anyway, if you watch me, listen to me, experience me, I'm telling you right now, take 5% of your top line. 5% minimum. Now, you can do more. I like to usually do more, but let's just talk minimums today. 5%. I want you to reinvest that back into making you a better version of you. All right. So do simple math, right? So if I'm a $500,000 advisor, top line, right? That leaves what? $25,000, right? If I'm $1 million advisor, it's $50,000 minimum, right? $2 million. Everybody gets the math, right? But Joe, how if I'm starting out? What if I'm like a new advisor? Maybe I'm doing like 100,000, right? Or 150,000. 5% of that is what? $5,000, $7,500, right? You can probably get in some online programs. Like our program, I think it's like $500 a month. Like you can get in some really good stuff, right? I know other coaches have other programs like that. So you just got to find the right one. It's never too early to start investing in your game. So what a lot of advisors do is, because they're in the training program, and I'm going to be careful how I'm going to language this. Most training programs are designed to get you licensed and keep you out of jail. That's about it, okay? I've seen them all. I've consulted with some. I know what they look like. Some are better than others, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's going to be up to you and you reinvesting in you to make you the best version of you. End of story, period. All right? So why 5% minimum? By the way, 5% is good. 10% is better. Just saying, right? I use 10% for myself. As your game grows, so let's just play 5% game. So if you're a $500,000 advisor, right, top line this year, 2024, 5% of that would be what? $25,000. So you would have a $25,000 budget for 2025 for coaching, right? Coaching training. conferences, masterminds, coaching programs, online coaching programs, personal coaching, whatever, right? 25K. 3 years from now, the coaching works out. You're at $1 million. Well, now your budget is what? $50,000. You can do some really cool things with 50 grand a year, reinvest it back in yourself, right? And you do that, and it pays off. Then a couple years later, you're at $2 million, and it's 100 grand, right? And you can hire the top people in the space. Like you can go, and there will be literally no limitation to who you can hire, maybe even several of them, depending on what you want to do. Maybe you need a marketing coach, personal coach, business coach, whatever you need. And think about like athletes like LeBron James and Tiger Woods, right? And all these other athletes, man, they have teams around them, right? LeBron James has a strength coach, a flexibility coach, a sports psychologist, a massage coach / therapist, a nutritional coach / cook. I mean, and I think he invests, I read somewhere like $1.5 million into his body every year, right? That's no fluke. He's playing at the top of his game at 40. Think about that. 20 years in the league, right? Success at a high level is not about being a rugged individual trying to figure it out. And this is what many of you do. You get your ego in the way. Oh, I don't need that. I'm good. I know what I'm doing. Okay, maybe you do. But how about doing it faster? How about not doing trial and error, right? Like, I deal with some of the most successful people in our game, people on the Barron's list, right? People that do, 30, 40, $50 million a year business. And they're some of the nicest, most humble people you ever met. You'll never know their level of success. You know why? They're a certain human being. What I find interesting is the arrogant ones are the ones that struggle, but they can't read their own room. Like they have this narrative that all figured out, I don't need help. Like your ego is costing you, and this is really what I wanted to kind of end our conversation with today. I was listening, I do a lot of personal development myself, shockingly, right? I'm in the business. So I was watching a video the other day on YouTube, Alex Ramosi, not germane to our business, but interesting dude nevertheless. And he was talking about the cost of not developing yourself. So I'm going to put my take on it. So let's just say you're a $500,000 advisor and you want to be $1 million producer. And you've been trying for years and you get some starts and fits, but every year it's like you're running in quicksand. You get frustrated, right? So I'm going to play a game with you right now. Every year that you're not $1 million producer and you're a $500,000 producer, you lose $500,000. Think about that. It's $500,000 of unrealized gain economically. Now, depending on how long you've been in this game, some of you may only be in this game a couple of years. Some of you may have been in this game a couple of decades. I want you to think about the cost that you're really paying for not being great. A lot of you are allowing your ego to cash a check that you do not have the funds for. I'll use $500,000 as a great example. So some of you are trying to save $25,000 by not reinvesting back in yourself. And it's costing you $500,000 a year. How many years has that already gone on? How many more years are you prepared to let it continue to happen? And then I want you to add up that money. And I want you to see it, and I want you to look at the number, and it's going to be millions of dollars, quite frankly. And I want you now to ask yourself a question. Here's the question. If that money, several $1 million, was in my bank account today, how would my and my family's life be different? And then decide to do something different, okay? Thank you for listening, watching this episode of the Magellan Network Show. MagellanNetwork.net if you want to find me, or CoachJoe.guru is my personal website. Have a happy holiday. I will see you guys on the 20th. So next week, we'll be here. And have a great week. See you next Friday. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net. And we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game, both personally and professionally.